Some people hear the phrase building relationships at work and immediately feel uncomfortable. It sounds fake. It sounds political. It sounds like pretending to like people just to get ahead. And if you're an immigrant professional, that discomfort can feel even stronger. Many of us were raised to believe do your work, respect people, stay out of trouble, and don't push yourself forward. So when someone says you need to build relationships at work, you may quietly think, I don't want to play games. I just want my work to speak for itself. But here's the truth. Many of us learn later that your work does not speak for itself. People speak for your work in rooms you're not in. And if no one knows you well enough to speak for it, your hard work can stay hidden. So today, let's talk about how to build relationships at work without feeling fake. Hi, I am Marian, and on this channel, I share lessons from my journey and from my book, Breaking Through the Immigrant's Handbook for Thriving in the American Workplace, to help immigrant professionals navigate the American workplace with more clarity, confidence, and strategy. Today, we are talking about something that affects your growth more than many people realize: relationships at work. Not forced relationships, not manipulation, not pretending. I'm talking about real trust, the kind that helps people understand your value, remember your contribution, and mention your name when opportunities come up. Here's the main message. Building relationships at work is not about pretending. It's about being known, trusted, and understood. Being fake says, I'm only talking to you because I need something. But trust says, I understand that work happens through people, so I will be intentional about how I show up. Many immigrant professionals struggle here because in our cultures, respect often looks like distance. You wait to be invited. You don't approach senior leaders casually. You don't insert yourself into conversations. You don't want to look like you are trying too hard. To us, that may look respectful. But in many workplaces, it can be misread as not interested, not engaged, or not confident. And many of us were taught that good work should be enough. We don't want to look like we're using people. We don't want to become fake. We don't want to draw the wrong kind of attention. But humility should not make you invisible. Hard work should not keep you isolated. Careers don't move on work alone. I've said this before. I'm saying it again. They move through people. People recommend. People mentor. People share information. People invite. People mention your name when you are not in the room. If you are disconnected from people, you may also be disconnected from opportunity and advocacy. That's not about being fake. That's understanding how the workplace works. Years ago, I had the chance to present in a senior leadership meeting. It was a high visibility moment. I prepared, I worked hard, I did the work, but once I got into that room, I did not know how to navigate it, and I did not get the response I expected. I felt embarrassed. Afterward, a senior leader pulled me aside and said, "Come by my office, I will coach you." That was access. That was guidance. That was relationship. But I didn't go. I hesitated. I overthought it. Responding to that invitation could have opened the door to a real mentoring and networking relationship with that leader. But I missed the opportunity because I did not yet understand what that invitation meant. That experience taught me something. I want you to hear clearly. Sometimes opportunity does not look like a promotion. Sometimes opportunity looks like a person. Sometimes it looks like a conversation. Sometimes it looks like an invitation you need to follow up on. So how do you build relationships at work without feeling fake? Let me give you 4 practical shifts. Stop thinking relationship building means pretending. Relationship building does not mean pretending to care about things you don't care about. It does not mean becoming someone you are not. It simply means recognizing that people matter. People matter. At work, people are not just job titles. They are colleagues, managers, stakeholders, mentors, decision makers, and future advocates. Instead of asking, how do I network? Ask, how do I build trust? That question feels different. Trust is not built through performance alone. It's also built through honesty, consistency, respect, and work that people can experience. For example, maybe there's someone in another department whose work affects yours. You do not have to force a friendship with them, but you can build a professional connection. You can acknowledge their input in a meeting and ask a thoughtful question or follow up after a shared project. The practical takeaway is this: start with respect, not performance. You do not have to be loud. You do not have to be overly social. You do not have to become the person who is always in everyone's office. You can build trust in a way that matches your personality. Number 2, build connection through the work itself. If casual conversation feels uncomfortable, start with the work. That's often the easiest. That's often the easiest and most natural entry point. After a meeting, you can say, I appreciated your point about that project, or that was helpful. I had not thought about it that way. Or I'm working on something connected to what you mentioned. I may reach out with a question. That is not fake. That is professional. Work-centered connection is powerful because it allows you to build relationships without feeling like you are forcing personal closeness. You are not asking private questions. You are not pretending to be best friends. You are showing that you are engaged, thoughtful, and paying attention. For example, imagine your team is discussing a new process and someone from another division explains why the timeline matters. Instead of saying silent, you could follow up later and say, thank you for explaining the timeline today. It helped me understand how this affects your team. That one sentence does several things. It shows respect. It shows you listened. It opens the door for future communication. The practical takeaway is this: use the work as a bridge, as the bridge. Small, consistent moments build trust. Number 3, let people know what you are working toward. People cannot support what they do not know. This is where many hardworking professionals get stuck. They are waiting to be noticed, waiting to be selected, waiting to be invited. But sometimes people do not connect you to opportunities because they do not know what you want. You do not need to announce your whole career plan. You just need to give people some clarity. You can say, one area I'm trying to grow in this area is project leadership. Or, I'd like to contribute more to cross-team projects. Or, I'm interested in learning more about strategy. Or, I'm working on becoming more visible in meetings. This is information. For example, if your manager knows you want to grow in project leadership, they may think of you when a small project needs someone to coordinate next steps. But if your manager only knows that you quietly complete your assignment, they may not know you are ready for more. The practical takeaway is, do not make people guess your goals. Share your growth direction respectfully and clearly. Let's take a 4th one. Receive invitations as doors. This one is important. Many opportunities come quietly. When someone says, come by my office, or let's talk more about this, or send me what you're working on, don't dismiss it too quickly. That may be a door. And I know we hesitate. We think we don't want to bother them. What if they were just being polite? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I'm not ready? But sometimes opportunities come through one person who sees something in you. So, for example, a senior leader may offer feedback after a meeting. A colleague may say, you should connect with someone on my team. A manager may say, let me know if you want to talk through that. Those moments may not look big, but they can become important if you follow up respectfully. You can say, thank you for offering to talk more. I would appreciate that. Will next week be a good time? Or thank you for the feedback. I'd like to learn from it and improve. Could I send you a few questions? The practical takeaway is this: when someone opens a door, Walk through it with preparation and gratitude. Honestly, somebody said something a month ago. He said, when someone opens a door, run through it. Run through it with preparation and gratitude. Follow up, say thank you, receive the help. That is wisdom. That is wisdom. That reminds me of my friend Marcus, Coach Marcus. He once said to me, I want to personally coach you, because he could see that I was struggling through some things. I could have dismissed the offer. I could have said I don't want to bother him, or maybe he's just being kind. But I accepted the invitation. That coaching helped me take a coaching certification, which led to a 500-word document and eventually became part of the journey toward breaking through. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had not taken him up on that offer. Let me also bring this back to the immigrant workplace experience. When you move to a new country, you don't just start a new job. In many ways, you rebuild your social capital. People may not have known your story, or people may not have known your story, your background, or your education, your character, your history, but you begin one step at a time to build your social capital. So, let's rebuild connection, credibility, and trust intentionally. It's about helping people understand your value in your new environment. That is part of breaking through. Let's make it even more practical. Imagine two professionals, Mary and Sarah. Mary is hardworking and reliable. She completes her assignment. She stays in a lane. She attends the meetings, but rarely speaks. She doesn't build many relationships outside a team. Mary is not doing anything wrong. She's just underconnected. She's doing the work, but people don't really know her. Sarah is also competent, but Sarah asks thoughtful questions. She follows up after meetings. She shares brief updates about her work. She connects her work to the bigger picture. So when leaders ask, who can help with this, Sarah's name comes up. Not because Sarah is better, not because Mary is lazy, but because Sarah is known. Sometimes the issue isn't performance. It is what we call proximity. Who knows your work? Who understands your value? Who can speak for you when you are not in the room? That is why relationships matter. So here's your challenge for this week. Choose one person you already work with. Someone you respect, someone connected to your work, someone you could learn from. Take one small step. Send a message. Ask a thoughtful question. Follow up after a meeting. Thank them for something specific. Ask for advice. Share a brief update. One person, one conversation, one intentional step. Growth often comes from conversation, and the right conversation can create an opportunity you did not expect. If you have been avoiding workplace relationships because you do not want to feel fake, reframe it. You are not manipulating people. You are learning how trust works. Your work matters, but it needs people who understand it. Your value matters, but it needs to be seen and communicated. Your growth matters, but growth often happens through people, conversations, and opportunities. So be excellent, but also connected. Be respectful, but also present. Be humble, but also known. Because the goal is not fake relationships. The goal is real trust. The goal is real trust, building relationships. If this message helped you, like the video, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more conversation on confidence, visibility, thriving in the workplace. And if you are already subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. I truly appreciate you because you matter. You deserve to grow. You deserve to thrive. And I am cheering you on.